Hey everybody, I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and we are beginning another wonderful fairy tale. This is Lechuza in our Big Art Quest series. So these are multi-part lessons that we do over a course of several weeks so that you can take in a technique or take in a concept, digest it, and be able to do it easier yourself. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hi, guys.
He's going to be tracking with cameras and making sure you're part of the action so you can see what the brush is doing, so you can see all the techniques that I'm executing. That way you have the best chance to be able to do that at home. Sometimes he'll pull a question from the live stream and ask me, so I might be answering a question that you have at home on the replay. You never know. If you're brand new here, these are some of our more challenging, involved paintings that we offer. It's a completely free course. We meet every week, kind of same bat time, same bat channel, like Thursdays around noon. And we do a segment for an hour. And we do it for an hour because that makes it easier for you to be able to get it at home. So that's how this is going to work. There's a lot of colors in the description if you check it. We are probably not going to be using all of those, but this is such an unusual piece. I wasn't really sure which blue I wanted to not include or which red. So just paint along with me today. These are all colors that we use in our regular normal palette. And they're all colors that you probably should have in your own art palette at home if you can. And of course, as always, there's exchanges. So if you don't have it, don't let that stop you. The important thing is that you get to do the project. I'm ready to hop on in.
Are ya?
Yes,
All
yes
right.
I am.
Let's see what we got over here.
So I got a little empty palette and I have here my little surface. Now, it's already painted black. But it's an 11 by 14. I'm going to paint it black again because I like you guys to be able to follow along with me live. Long story on why it's already black, but we're just going to give it a second coat. And you give your canvas a black coat. It's really not that important. We just want to begin with a black coat. So let's put out our black paint and start that out. I've got some nice acrylic black here. Dun, 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 dun. Just a little bit. I'm going to grab a big brush and I'll go ahead and paint the canvas black. But mostly what I'm saying is you guys at home, paint your canvas black.
That's not too hard to do.
No. And I'm noticing I need some more black paint.
Yeah?
Yeah. Where did all the black paint go? It's okay for right now, but dude, I need some black paint.
Yeah. We'll have to get you some out.
Yes, I do need some.
Okay. I guess that's my job.
I know where it is. If you don't mind, like after I paint this in while it's drying and you talk to them, I can go get it.
I have to figure that out. I'll let them look over your left shoulder as you paint. I'll just leave it there, and I'll put a little cue marker up there that'll say, "Hey, you're watching the Art Sherpa." Cool.
We have used up all the black pigment.
Okay.
That's going to be in one of the paint tubs behind that curtain. That's my little worry. You know, maybe I can get away with the craft paint today. I just need a little bit of black paint. Sometimes you run out of paint. Works. I'll take it. I'll take it. Whatever it is, I'll take it. Oh, there's none in it. You can't. It's empty. You handed me an empty bottle. Okay, so I'm going to get something because, you know, that's what I do. All right. What is going on with the black in this house? All right, apparently we're using a bunch of black. I've used all the black. Okay, yes, there's some black in that one. Okay, so I have some black paint. It's just because part of this background is going to need some more black when I'm mixing the black and browns and we do the blended background. And we really got to do that before we grit it in. So start with a black canvas.
Yeah.
Then dry your black canvas.
It's a good thing that we're so prepared. You know, there was half of me that was worried that the hairdryer wasn't going to work. And I was like, that could just totally be us. You know, because that's how, look, I thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. I love having you guys here. Thank you for coming to our little corner of YouTube where we get to do the fun stuff.
What? I'm a crazy girl.
We're just clearly super prepared.
I was. It's just an empty tube of paint because I paint so much.
You do?
So what happens is I just paint so much. I go through my paint a lot quicker. I have an actual case of black paint somewhere. So there's really no excuse. Let's get some of that Prussian blue out. So now we know Prussian blue is in the palette. So I've got burnt umber and Prussian blue. By the way, how you saw my paint come out, your acrylic paint shouldn't come out like that kind of curdling. It means there's an issue with the milling or with the paint curing. This is so lightly curdled that I can still use it, so I'm not going to worry about it, but that's something for you to be aware of at home. I'm going to also put out a little bit of our, obviously, hard to find black paint. For you guys at home, just use Mars Black. And let's put out I'm going to use tint white. Now, if you remember, tint white, zinc white, and mixing white are all the same white. And just in case, I'm going to put out a little bit of our handy dandy titanium white, which clearly I'm not nearly out of. So there we go. And we're going to be making a very soft bokeh out of focus background on the background. Now, blending in acrylic can be really challenging. If your paint is drying on you very quickly, you may need to incorporate a product like this into your palette, which is Golden's acrylic glazing liquid. I don't recommend another product because there's not another product quite like this one. They don't pay me in any way. Heck, I could barely get a bottle at NAMTA when I needed one. So it is an unbiased opinion. It is an opinion which comes from just having felt like it was a really good product and it's what I use, but it's not something that's unduly influenced, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take a big brush and start lightly blocking in some of my colors. Right, so I've got this nice number 30 bright. I'm going to dip it in my water, drag that off, and I'm going to get some burnt umber to begin with. And let's put just a smidge. Can you see how I just got the corner in there?
Yeah.
Of that blue into it. And let's come into the background, and we're going to just a little more blue. Start blending in this out of focus background that we're dealing with. Maybe a little more blue. So if at first I can deepen it with my wonderful Prussian blue, I will. I'm going to go through here. I'm going to work through this quickly. See how I'm going through it quickly?
Yeah.
When you're trying to get a soft blended background, you only have until the paint dries. So that's why sometimes you'll see me moving at quite speed on the channel. I'll be cooking it along, just grabbing some blue there. Now, while this is all still wet, and if I'm worried about it drying on me before I have a chance to blend, I can apply a far away, look, I'm just like back like this is the strongest perfume on the planet, a little mist. I'm going to get some of my zinc on here, my mixing white, and I'm going to go ahead and imply maybe some distant like foliage or things. If you can see this, maybe up here a little bit. So I come and I brush in a square and I put in a strong square like that, and I put in strong squares randomly. Notice how I've randomized them in some upward marks. What am I doing? Well, I'm trying to say that there's this world behind her that we're not seeing because it's out of focus. Now I'm going to grab a dry, soft brush. This is the Ultimate Varnish brush, but it's actually, I use it for varnish, but I really like it for this. You can get these in goat. I don't really like them in goat because they shed into my painting and they don't hold up against acrylic all that well. And while everything is still wet, I'm going to take this brush and blend, look at that, this background softly into place. Can you believe how that blended in so softly? If I need to, I can always mist an area like right there and make sure I blend again, softly blending. Because I want things to appear out of focus and in the distance. And to do that, I have to have no hard edges. See how the brush is? I didn't dip it in water. I used it dry. It's very soft. I've been getting asked a lot lately, do I think that a makeup brush would work for this? And I have to say I've drugged John in enough to the makeup store to tell you that I do. But the ones that I thought that would do a good job are not actually saving. So I haven't quite worked that out yet.
Yeah.
The dollar ones weren't going to work because they were shedding out and they weren't responding to the acrylic paint. The ones that were really good beauty blenders absolutely would have worked, but they were also $28. So I was like, and not on sale, and I couldn't get a half off coupon for them.
Yeah.
So my recommendation for this is go to the Brush Guys and use the code Art Sherpa, or is it the Art Sherpa?
Either, I think.
either code and you'll get 5% off your total order, and you can get these at a really reasonable price.
Yeah.
As I understand, that's what everybody said.
And they're in one of your sets, right?
They are in one of my sets. So I have
And-
a set you can get at Michaels. They are available at michaels.com, and you can use the half off coupon. And the set comes with a 2-inch cutter and a monogram liner, both which are excellent brushes and I use all the time. So if you can get that one, I would highly recommend it. Either situation will work for you. If you're in Canada, try Kings. And of course, in the UK, try Jackson's. All right. So this is drying, but I need to dry it more. I need to look at it and go, do I feel like there's enough soft focus?
Yeah.
You know, and that's what we're looking at is, do we like the soft focus? Because this soft focus sets up a lot on our painting.
Yeah.
And that's what we're taking in. Take it in.
Take it in.
Take it in. I'm just looking and seeing how I feel. And I'm kind of happy with it. I feel like I could do a little more.
Yeah.
To be honest. I'm going to do a little more. Because we're not in a rush on these paintings.
No.
We don't rush. We don't take a half-executed technique. We do the full thing. And if we feel like we need a little more to make our background more awesome, we get it.
Now, you're standing back from your canvas a little more today.
Yes, because I am trying to take it in. I'm going to get a little bit of my Prussian and my white. I like to stand back when I can. It lets me have a good view of what I've got going on. I'm going to mist as I go. Because I do want this to be softly blended. But I want it to be an interesting background so that the painting really stands out. Now I have another one here dry, so I can easily soften this. Now look at this. So most of the surface is dry. I'm just blending the new paint I applied, but see how I'm still getting a soft edge?
Yeah.
I'm not having to worry about that, and that's quite nice. The zinc is very unassuming, the tint whites, so you can get a nice effect with them and not overwhelm your surface with titanium. Look, and then we're just brushing. See how easy it is to get a soft background. We can do that very nicely. Let me get a little more Prussian in here. And again, just making that soft yet deep blended background. Mist where I need to. I got these on Amazon in bulk. I think they're a nail salon tool or something.
I think it's funny.
I know. They're just a really good micro mister, and they're small, and they fit in my travel bag. You can see it's just able to really, really let me do this. And I can do what's called rouging, which is where you have a dusting of pigment on your brush, and you kind of scumble dry brush it out, and it rouges the canvas.
Nice.
All right. Now I can come back with a little of my white, maybe a touch of my brown. This is again still the tint. Let me make a little bit here. We're going to talk about this distant, soft bunch of plants. See, I'm curving this one down here.
Oh, yeah.
Curving that one there. So this is how we're going to say, oh, girl, whoops. Don't worry about that. So if something like that happens to you, I'm going to take my blender a little bit damp.
You just turn it into a little background.
Yeah. I just soften that out. And then when I come back with the other brush, like it just blends right out.
Oh, good.
I'm going to go over this, and I'm going to go back and forth across it, which, as you can see, pulls it a bit out of focus, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
A little bit. Boom, 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 boom. Out of focus. Sometimes with acrylic paint, you need to coax things. You know, there's a lot to you've got to watch, because there's a lot we can not show with the camera. It's just because of the way film is, which is why sometimes I will describe things to you the way that I do, so that even if the camera's not going to show an effect, you know what we're supposed to be getting. So let's see how that is. I'm going to back up a bit. So we're starting to get that nice sense of blended background, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's out of focus. It's distant. It's hidden from us a bit. I will rinse this out and get some more paper towel. Oh, no, I won't. It's on the ground. That happens to me a lot. I'll get my other paper towel. So when I'm between using these brushes, I take them out and I work them into my towel so that they're not carrying any extra moisture. I think we're doing pretty good. I might put out some more tint white. I haven't really needed my titanium, and for all that fuss, everyone give John a hug because I haven't needed any black.
It's okay.
All right, I'm going to go into my Prussian blue. I love Prussian blue. You're going to love the chapter on blue when we get into it on book club inside the group. You're going to be like, wow, Prussian blue is so awesome. So you can see I'm just bringing this big brush and making these soft strokes, aren't I?
Yeah.
So this almost speaks to maybe some plant life in the background, doesn't it? If we wiggle up and then so we're creating some layers. We know that we're going to be laying her in on a grid. Maybe still some more here. I've got a lot going on for when I put the sparkles up there. See how I'm curving that stroke? Can you see that? Where my wrist flicks it at a curve.
Yeah.
This is a thing I do a lot. I curve the stroke. Sometimes you guys will get in here and you'll do a straight stroke and it won't look the same. Curve it. Flick the brush around. If it gets out of hand, look at me. You just rapidly flick the brush around. There's nothing that's going on here that you can't really get into a dress and make better. This is the opposite of space. Astronauts will often say, there's nothing in space you can't make worse.
There's nothing so bad in space you can't make it worse.
I have a friend who's like technically an astronaut. He's really a doctor, but he's technically not. Like if 400 people launched, he could maybe be in the launch or something like that. But he told me that. I just thought that was the best thing. Really, actually, he's a writer of science fiction now, too.
Yes, apparently there's like a waiting list of hundreds of astronauts.
Well, and sometimes they train you if you work there, I guess, because you need to know what the other astronauts are going through. I don't know. I don't know anything's NASA. You'd have to ask him.
Yeah, he knows about heart stuff.
Yeah, he knows about the heart stuff.
A lot about heart. Now, both physically and emotionally.
We're creating these little background things. Sorry, just making sure I'm letting everyone know while we're chatting. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Just gets nicer and softer and more blended. Everyone's going to be like, how'd you do that background? You're going to be like,
I blended it.
I blended it. I can't really tell you my techniques. That would be cheating. You can tell people I don't mind. But this kind of, there we go, flick, 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 flick. Are you guys seeing how that background is created? It's an important step of the painting. Now you guys are going to be able to do all these like fall pieces with these distant dry grasses, and you're going to be like, oh, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Before we get to the next thing, we can have a quick chat. I'm going to have a sip of my coffee, take any questions that we have. Are you guys starting to see that out of focus background come together? This is step one in making your artwork look more realistic. Being able to put some of your painting in focus and some of your painting out of focus will kick up those art skills like to level 10.
Oh, so Melinda says shop towels won't shed on your canvas. Good to know.
Good to know.
Try that out, yeah.
Good to know. I'll go steal my husband's and let you know if I concur.
No. Okay.
He does not appreciate that you said that because they'd been safe until this moment.
The big roll.
Thank you, Melinda.
All right. So, Nikki would like to know: does canvas pad give muddy or crumbled effects?
Canvas pads, okay. So I'm gonna say that I use Strathmore and I haven't had that, and I use Fabriano and I haven't had that. I've had other paper companies that I didn't like the result of, so I'm wondering if it's a pad by pad thing. Muddy effects come from two things. Like, I could see where the surface of your canvas pad could be messing you up. If the weave of the paper isn't good and it's rough and it's dispersing light incorrectly, it's kind of like the opposite of an ampersand panel. That could be dulling your effect. Usually what's dulling your effect is a hidden primary in your color mixes. And if you want to make sure it's not that, watch my split primary palette video. It's 12 minutes. It's nothing. It's funny. It's weird. It's goofy. But it will explain about a year's worth of color mixing in 10 minutes. And that's really often what makes our colors muddy, is that hidden primary. Sometimes the hidden primary comes from our water, so how that would be is, like, say my water jar were full of a lot of blue because I've been doing Prussian blue, but I wanted to go into a bunch of oranges, and I'm not paying attention to how pigmented my water is, and I go to make those oranges, they'll suddenly seem dull, even though I know I'm using cad yellow and cad red light. So how could they be dull? Hidden primary, because that blue snuck in there. Thing that can happen. Things that can happen.
Things that can happen.
On your canvas. Big Art Quest. It
is good to breathe.
It is good to breathe. I can get so hopped up and drilled in my studio. So, like, I have to get this technique, and there'll be mess everywhere, and canvases like leaned up against things in varying states of drying, and I'm rabidly foaming from the mouth. And it's like, well, isn't art supposed to be relaxing? And in general it is, but sometimes as creatives we can get real driven or drilled down or intense on a particular technique or subject. So it's important to get into the practice of every once in a while paying attention if you're tight in your chest and your shoulders and your neck, and relax that out, because this is your hour. This is your power hour, your magic time. You got to make sure it's good. I did not take my own advice last night. I was creating in a frantic whirl. My kids were like, Mom's being crazy in the studio. I did invent a new technique.
Yes.
So worth it, but you don't get to see it yet. You have to wait for the video. All right, that is, I'm still going to have to hair dry it.
Okay.
We're going to dry this, and I'm going to show you how to grid, and then we're going to use that gridding method to sketch her in. And you can, John will tell you where you can get the grid and extra resources on our website while I give this a dry.
Okay. So while she's doing that, I'll say, go out and check out on our website. You'll see the link in the description down below, and that'll bring you right out there, and you'll see on the left-hand side, there's a whole bunch of resources. Traceables, gridding images, things like that. You can click on them and download them there. There's also a little voting thing where you can vote on what you think, how difficult you thought the lesson today was. So if you agree, if it was a 1, a 2, or a 3 hoot, you can put that in there.
If you agree.
If you agree.
I don't know if that's going to be chalky enough. I need a chalky surface to let me kind of create some lines. I have a variety of tools I use. I'm going to try my pencils today.
Yeah.
So my grid, and I'll pull my example out. You print yours. This represents an 11 by 14 surface, which is what we're on, gridded at every 1 inch mark.
Right.
So from this printout, what you would do is you would just come to every, this is a good day, 1 inch mark. Paving today. Sometimes I get a surface where it's like, I am not taking the paint, no matter what you do. No chalking on me. I will come around the other direction and make sure that I've made marks, again, every 1 inch. So once I have those 1 inch marks, I make little cross lines, like you do. Right? Because that's what you do. That's how you do it. You grid it. You could project this image. You could use our free traceable for sure. Right?
Yep.
That would be just fantastically fine. You know, I'm thinking of a way I could improve the grit for this gridding is if I did the Holbein colored gesso and did it in like the mid grit, and then it would be all toothy and take all my pencil marks, but it would aggravate everybody else. So I won't do it.
Mid grit.
Grid your grit. Grit for your grid. But you can see I've got enough of a mark where I'm going to be able to get a nice sense of my grid and be able to really, really, really get my image out. This tool, if you've never seen it before, is called a T-square. You can get fine engineered ones like what they have for architects, or you can get the one like what I have here, which is just a little plastic one. They have I have a bunch of them that are also Artist Loft that you can get off of the Michaels website for pretty cheap. You can use the coupons there.
Yeah.
I think you just got to shop them around because generally art stores will have them on sale. So, pro tip: put every single art store on Google Alert for sale.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Set your Google alerts, and you're gonna want to, like, sale at Jerry's Artorama. You just Google Alert sale.
Huh.
Right. And so that you're not missing any sales. So if they do promotions or they make a news or press release, you can see that. Also, I like to check them regularly for their clearance because you might get, a $60 T-square ruler that's all beautiful and metal and engineered for $5. And you're like, woohoo, score. And that's what art is about, scoring budget art supplies. But just go through and check your local area. If you are in Canada, really get on the list for King's Art and Frame. It's not a paid thing. It's just a tip I have. It's just a tip.
Just a tip.
It's just a tip. Lisa's cool, and she keeps a lot of stuff, and she's got classes, and it's a good resource in your area, and you don't have to deal with that crazy shipping.
That makes sense.
Because sometimes there's crazy shipping, right? Boom.
Let's see.
Just
I'm
coming
reading
through.
the chat.
Coming through. How's the chat doing as we grid slowly?
Pretty good.
Cool.
Now, Nikki was curious. Is this Frida Kahlo inspired?
Well, I'm not saying that Frida didn't come in and influence some of my decisions here. Thank you for recognizing one of my very favorite goddesses on earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that girl. She is my jam. I will never live as bohemian or wildly as she did, but, I'd like to.
So what is a bruja?
So bruja is a witch in Latin American culture. Generally, they're not considered good. They don't really have good witches as far as I have ever seen. This particular bruja turns into a barn owl and screeches and kind of like Chupacabra and La Llorona generally goes after bad children. I grew up in California, and what I'll say is the takeaway of growing up in San Diego is there's a lot of Chupacabras that are watching some bad children.
I need someone
Chupacabra
to come scare my bad children into being
that's
good.
what they do. They're like, good kids come from Chupacabra and Lechuza, La Llorona. I'm probably saying all these wrong, but
I need to invite these spirits over.
But in my version of her, because I find often women are misrepresented almost like in a negative light, and I don't mean that like in some extreme, kind of way. What I mean is like just genuinely, if you do any women's studies or any like mythology, kind of got it rough. And so I really liked how Maleficent kind of revisited that idea. And then, yes, I was thinking about Frida and about how she like kind of flipped traditional female roles on their ear. And I thought, what if they were beautiful? What if they were amazing and magical transforming beings like mermaids? Maybe a little dangerous, sure, but part of the magic that is the world, because magic things should be a little dangerous, shouldn't they?
Yeah, I like it.
Not completely safe. Not completely safe. However, you get your grit in, right?
Get it gritted.
However, you get your grit in. All right. That's not a fast process, but that's how it's done. I try not to skip these at this stage of our classes just because it doesn't really help you figure out how to make this for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my dirty water over here. So, sip my coffee. But you know what I mean? If you grew up with stories of the Lechuza, you must absolutely share them in comments. Like, what did your mom or grandmother say to you? You must share. You must. As mine is sort of by osmosis, tangentially. My mom told me zero tails. I think she told me the little Match Girl and the Princess Bride, which, if you think about it, are kind of dark stories because she didn't give me the movie version of the Princess Bride. I got the one where everybody died and then the Match Girl. So I had the fairy tales I had were rough. Oh, and she gave me the original version of The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
I was so relieved for Disney, I can't tell you. I was like, where have these been all my life? My mom can get a little dark.
So
Just, John knows her, so he knows what I'm saying. 1, 2, 3. But you know what? I've inherited that, John. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to count along to where my owl starts. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, guess what? I'm not drawing the whole owl. I am just drawing a line, which it starts about here on my square. You can see about the positioning and ends right there. Now, I can come over a square, and it's almost like straight across, right?
Yep.
And then a similar thing. And it comes down below to here. Oh, gosh, I love gridding. Gridding. Now, there's a sort of bend and a little bit there. So all we've got to do is look for this line to this line. And again, you print these out on the websites. This is no big deal. Now maybe I'm going to come up here as I'm working so I have nice transitions. And then bend that out. You know, so you just want to see where things are going. Now where's the eye according to this? And you can, you know, as you get it in, you can sketch and refine, you know, but you're just trying to make sure your placements are good. But you can see real quickly that the beak is quite small in this space. And our eye is really right here. And then I've got another little eye, and just match them up. You're not doing everything, you just have to do what you've got.
Gotcha.
Do that. And then you know you can very easily come here and even capture the heart, can't you? This comes almost to the edge. And look at that. That's where our heart face is going to be. How are we not just awesome? We are awesome.
This is awesome.
We're so awesome. We can just do anything. You can do anything once you grid. Right there. Paying attention to shapes and whoop, right there. Can you get lost in the grid? Yes, you can. Done it. Done it. Coming down through. There's just a corner on this one. See, so.
Just a little bit.
And a lot of times as you're gridding, you'll go, wow, I wouldn't have put it together that way. I didn't see it clearly. I think that's one of the most remarkable parts about gridding is that realization that you may not be seeing things as clearly as you might like. So I've got this nice little square here. And you can see that this comes through here and back up. And then across. Then once you have that in, you can start to refine those lines, you know, and make them more interesting. That's pretty good. Look, we got an owl in.
Yeah.
You know, we got this beautiful owl in. That's not too bad. Now, if I come over here, I can start on her face, and her face starts 4 squares up. And it is, the 4th square has just 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And then up into the 5th square across for her forehead. All right, so there we go. Then we've got this little part for the nose and the eye. So forward to the brow. And then the nose exits here. Right, and in here we've got the lip and the nose. The lip enters this square right there. I love this mouth. Like with it open and the sparkles coming up. I can't wait to show y'all how to do like epic sparkles.
Who doesn't like epic sparkles?
Well, I'm gonna level up your sparklage.
That's, man, I'm gonna level up your sparklage. That's a professional skill set I didn't think that we would.
We need it.
We do.
So you can see we're getting that profile there, and the grid's helping us do that. Even if you struggle with figures. Oh, but I love it. It's so nice. Is it making sound issues? It's okay. It's making sound issues. I'm going to put a little nostril there. You know, and if ever you're worried, if ever you're like, man, I'm not sure I really like how that's coming in, you get a brush with clean water, and you can kind of erase.
Mm.
So if you're like, oh, I want to trim that nose or change something there, look how easily that is done. You can do it. Now let it dry before you try to come back there and do a thing.
Ah, gotcha.
You know. It comes up. So this is an interesting one for me because her mouth is literally across this space, right? And it finishes all the way across the space. So it makes me feel like I've got to take the lip up a little further and into this space a little more. Let's see how that goes. And then the curve up. There we go. Because her mouth doesn't come past that line. That's something I've got to think about. So even something as complicated as rendering somebody's face, the grid can really help you do. Now, her lower lip is lower, so we're going to bring that here. A little bit there. Bring this, it's a kind of nice full lip. And then her chin. This is all about making sure we're in our grid. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So even if you're like, where am I at? You can make that little adjustment and be good. I bet you didn't know you could.
I love that lots of people enjoy that you show how to do this.
Well, if it's not knowledge that you're taught in school, it's just generally or through a video, it's not going to be knowledge that you're organically going to just have.
Yeah.
And that's important to know is that sometimes, and then you can see how the chin comes right along this square. It doesn't even start to bend. So here at the corner, and that helps you catch that perspective. Now, I already know I have to change something.
What do you mean?
Well, on my second square, it goes square, square, eye.
Oh, yeah.
But that's off.
See?
See?
Yeah. Certainly, I see it. You can't see it until it be seen.
Well, the grid shows it to you.
Then it can't be unseen.
Once it's been seen, you can't unsee it. So I know I go 1 line, 2 lines that my eye has to be here. And I know that my brow is here. So I was off, but not as off as I thought, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But on a face, that can be a big deal, can't it? But now I know to scoop the nose in a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
That's believable for the eye. And there we go. Ah, there. Much better, right?
Yeah.
Little changes that you make once you see it, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And her hairline is going to come through this grid, down this way. Her ear, where's her ear? It's 2 lines up, and it's at this intersection 2 squares over. And the ear comes fully to that second line, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ears are hard. This is another great way to do it. And then it's easier to follow the internal structure of that ear now, because you can see that it's sort of right in that space. And you might not have naturally put things in that space. Ever want to check your ear to your eye? Just remember, imagine glasses. And if the ear would hold up the glasses correctly, you probably have the ear and the eye in the right relationship to each other. It's a weird hack, but it works. So she's a lot more to get in than what we normally do, you know, on my regular classes on my YouTube. Let's start getting this wonderful kind of coat in. So that is 4 squares over, 3 squares up. Coming through and down, and then there's nice ruffles, which I can get later. I just need the big strength of lines. That's what I'm trying to get. Is those big strength of lines. So we're come up 4. We're going to start kind of running the bust line up here. And really, we're not running her bust line because it's a row of bric-a-brac.
Mm.
That'll give us a nice, like, oh, there's some bric-a-brac. Where's the bric-a-brac go? There's some bric-a-brac space. We have a poppy. That's going to be a hoot and a half to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so where am I? You can just find where you are in relationship to things. So you're, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. So if ever you're lost, you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're 6 over. You're here. It's easy to not be lost. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you're here. So we're blessed in that everything is right here, kind of on this cross point, makes it much easier. And you can kind of capture maybe a little bit better the overall shape and form that you expect your poppy to take. And I promise you, it's different than what you think, because when you look at this picture, the object poppy, your left brain will want to make it bigger in your head. It will want to make it more important and speak to you symbolically instead of factually about what you see. You pull that. That's a nice little foreshortened little space. Then I can be like, oh, look, these are also foreshortened. And then there's the interior of that poppy. And he's got a little friend that kind of comes here and across here. Give them a little bulb. Those little seed pods are always so interesting. Mm. And then that'll come down there as the, for where her bust is going. Little fabric crosses here. Let's get her arm in. Her arm is sort of an interesting thing. So here's the wing. And her arm comes across here, almost to the corner. And then really close behind the tail. Trying to find that spot where it's entering and exiting. There we go. Nice little elbow, comes across. Hits exactly at this intersection and gets behind the poppy. There's a little sleeve that comes off here. We'll come down there. So this really is going to be a lot of that, right? So you can kind of definitively see the elbow. We don't see the bend in the arm because it's hidden behind this little bit of lace. But now I can put in my little claw, which is going to be kind of hidden. And off the tail, and coming out the back that way is the rest of her dress. And then we get just a peek of a hand here. I'm not going to do all the little flowers. Those I'm going to do as I go. If you want to grid all your little flowers, you can, but we have a lot of painting to do here before we put them in, so it's not really going to be that helpful for us. What time are we at, Mr. Cooney?
You're at 47 minutes.
I'm going to say that this is where we should stop today.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is.
It was a lot to blend the background. It was a lot to get the grid in. It's not a small process. I think it's important for you to see me going through it real time. Know that your real time may be a little different than mine, but that's probably because of experience and grade. Really all it is. So if it takes you longer, don't feel like, oh, I'm not getting it. It's gettable, but it's not something that necessarily always slides in like instantly locked in immediately. So don't ever feel weird about that. I'm gonna turn around front.
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
So we can see where we're at on the background. We can see the soft out of focus. As we put objects in focus more, in front and on the owl, and that's out of focus, oh, it's gonna really make it look super amazing. Next time we get together, we're gonna talk about her skin tone. We're gonna start working that in and blocking in her dress and the owl. It's gonna be fun. Maybe we might even just do the owl next time. I don't know. I'll let you know in the Big Art Quest group, which is where we talk about all that stuff when we're deciding, like, what's our next week. I expect this to be a minimum of 4 sessions. It could be 5.
Yeah.
Because it's a beautiful piece and I don't want to rush through. I want to really get into every detail. I want this to be like the digital collage. And on closing, here's what I'd like to say to you. I am incredibly grateful that you spent an hour with me in your life, in your creative time, learning how to paint. It is my great pleasure to be your art teacher. It's John's great pleasure to be able to share art with you. We love what we do, but it's also just amazing. And we are so grateful that you guys show up, that you come chat, that you leave comments, that you do the shares, that you share the artwork, that you are exactly who you are. It's amazing to us, and we're super appreciative. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other, and we want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.